Good morning, guys. It's Wednesday morning. Seems to be a very beautiful morning. And I'm here in Psalm 85, reading verse 7 and 8. Now it says here, "Show us your unfailing love, O God, and grant us your salvation." I listen carefully to what God the Lord is saying, for he speaks peace to his faithful people, but let them not return to their foolish ways. Now, here at the beginning of this psalm, he talks about God pouring out back his love and his fortunes on his people and asking him to move his anger because they were going through some tough times. And so they're saying, hey, listen, you know what, God, show us your unfailing love. And then he says, but here, let us, God will speak peace to his faithful people, but let them not return to their foolish ways. You know, there are many times we go through stuff, a lot of things that may seem as if it's, got us bogged down for a season. But there's always that time when we begin to feel as if, when we begin to cry out, you know what, God, I think I need a break from all of this. You know what? So I'm asking you to pour out your unfailing love. Let me feel that love again. But it says, as God does that, the psalmist's prayer was, let us not go back to our foolish ways. A lot of times we make mistakes. We know that, because I did this and because I did that, X and Y happened. And then we pray and we cry out to God, oh God, please, just save us, help us. But then, as God began to open up the way and he began to do all the different things that he's doing to show that his love for you is unfailing. When you talk about unfailing, it means it never stops. Regardless, it never really stops. And as he begins to show you his unfailing love, many of us begin to take it for granted. And we go back to doing whatever it was we were doing in the first place. I want to remind us today and implore us not to do that. Like for instance, a lot of times we may have health issues and you may have a problem with, let's say your sugar level, and you eat certain things and then you get sick. When you're well again, we got sense enough to decide, you know what, I'm gonna stay off. There are some people who decide not to and they go back to eating the same things that got them sick in the first place. So I want to remind us not to be like that. Don't be foolish. Don't go back to your foolish ways. If you know that this is something that hinders you, this is something that creates a problem, whether it's physically, emotionally, or spiritually, let's try to avoid it. Once God has begun to show us his unfailing love and we begin to feel and understand and know like, hey, God is bringing me out, he's bringing me through this, then let's do our best not to go back to our foolish ways. That, hey, too much sweet brings diabetes, then just don't do it. I remember one time I got a cut on my hand and you suck the blood out and it was so super sweet. I was like, what? And I remember that they say, hey, that my grandmother had a bit of diabetes and whatever. And from that moment, I decided, you know what? I am not going to do my usual confectionery feast. I had this way where I'd eat a lot of, literally just go buy a lot of chocolates, a lot of sweets and so on, because I love that. And then I would still have sugar in my tea and so on. And so I weaned myself off of that to the point now where I drink tea without sugar. There are a lot of things that I don't put a lot of sweet in because I know and I understand I'm not going to go back to my foolish ways. And so I want to implore us, whatever it is, if we know that when we don't spend time with God, we begin to feel spiritually weak, let's ensure that we continue spending time with God. You set up that habit. Don't fall prey to the enemy. The enemy, every single day, he tries to distract me with something else. Every single day, he tries to distract me to not spend time with God. And so he's relentless in his pursuit of getting you to go the other way. I want to remind us to be just as relentless, just as firmly convinced to keep going God's way and not go back. Whenever God has brought you out from this situation, whenever God has shown you the light, act as if you have that knowledge. All right? That's my word of encouragement today. Have a wonderful Wednesday, and remember, he loves you, and I do too. Be blessed, guys.